Welcome to the Luna Award Series Tour. I am Bianca Sandoval, and I serve as your chairwoman for the Regional Hispanic Contractors Association. It is such a pleasure to welcome you to the Houston Tour. We know our Houston and the surrounding area is such an important part of the construction, engineering, and architecture industry, and feel incredibly grateful to engage our audience from Houston. You are in for a treat with today's speakers. Digital presence is so important, and we hope you learn a few nuggets today to help your business and brand. We would like to thank our corporate partner, Ferrovial Weber, and encourage you to engage with them on all social platforms.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's Veronica Torres with Healthy Latina Lifestyle. I'm here to introduce our self-care break for Houston. We're so excited to have our speaker today, and I want to make sure that everyone is ready with a little self-care prior to the series. This is such an honor to bring self-care on behalf of the Regional Hispanic Contractors Association. I think as women in architecture, design, and construction, it is important for us to take mindful breaks for ourselves, and I'm gonna walk you through on how we do that. It's very easy. Self-care is about taking care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. And today we're gonna learn a little mindful meditation and breath work for you to get started before you hear your wonderful speaker today. So I wanna invite you wherever you're at to find a nice, comfortable seated position. Most of you are probably in a chair or on a couch or perhaps even lying in bed, whatever works for you. I want you just to bring your attention to your body being grounded to the floor. If it's through your feet and crossing your legs and just getting your feet down to the ground, and just begin by sitting up nice and long and straight, perhaps bringing your hands to your knees, facing up as your palms, or perhaps bringing your hands facing down, whatever's comfortable. I want you to be mindful of your spine, sitting up nice and long, rolling your shoulders back, tilting your chin, elongating your spine through your neck, and just begin by closing your eyes or softly gazing right in front of you. Being mindful of your surroundings, turning off anything that's gonna be a distraction for you, perhaps your phone, the ringer, any sound that's around. We really wanna concentrate on our breath in this very moment. It's so important for you to take a minute to acknowledge yourself, acknowledge your breath and your body, and come together for a moment in mindfulness. Once you've turned off everything, I want you to just bring awareness to your breath. That's breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. When we're breathing in through our nose and out through our nose, it's just being mindful and telling our bodies that we are here to take a break for ourselves. It sounds really easy to say just to breathe, but sometimes we don't bring awareness to our breath. And for this moment, I want you to do just that. Visualize the air as it enters your nostrils and exits the nostrils. Perhaps thinking about what it feels like. What is the temperature like? You may even notice the little places in your body that receive the breath, becoming a little more supple. Any tension, any knots, anything that we're carrying in our body slowly starts to become softer. Maybe imagine gravity pulling your body down, relaxing a little more deeper in your seat. Just breathing in and breathing out, soft. No pressure on thoughts. Bring your awareness to the very room that you're seated in, allowing your body to relax, your mind to relax. Any thoughts that are happening of yesterday or no longer, those are just memories. And perhaps you find yourself thinking about what you need to do next for today that has not happened. So don't worry, just be in this present moment. Being present with your breath. You may even begin to feel a little moment of peace and gratitude that naturally comes to us when we allow our body to open, allow our breath to take its space. Now I want you to bring your right hand open perhaps holding it in a fist in your left hand. And I want you to slowly release your thumb finger, keeping your eyes closed, and just focus on your breath. As you release your thumb finger, I want you to think of one thing that you are grateful for. This can be a person, an item, anything. Just bring that experience, that thought to your mind, allowing your breath to accept it and the emotion that comes with it. As you inhale and exhale, open your index finger. Yet bring another thought of gratitude, another experience, another person in your mind. Now moving to your middle finger, another moment, another thought of gratitude for that. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Moving on to your ring finger and to your pinky finger. Just allow your breath to remind you of the feelings that come when we acknowledge the moments and the simple things that bring us joy and that we are so grateful for. Allowing yourself, give yourself permission to do nothing and just feel everything. The moment of joy as it enters into our heart, the relief, and the peace, and perhaps the movement in your body that makes you feel just a little lighter today. Closing your hand back, bringing your hands back to your knees. And let us sit for the next few breaths together, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Rolling your shoulders back. Allowing your body to take in every moment, every breath, relaxing. Let us remember that all we learn today is in our favor, that gratitude comes with being clear, being kind, and being aware, and being in the moment presently. Taking in breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and move your fingers. Thank you so much for sharing this moment for yourself, most importantly. Self-care can be practiced in any place, at any time that you find that you need a little more relief in your everyday. I know during these times that it's very stressful. We can become anxiety-stricken and feel helpless most of the time. But when you breathe and you become aware of what's around you and all of the grateful things that are available to you, I hope that you find a little more joy and what's to come. And I hope that you practice with us and follow the series next time. Thank you. Namaste.
Hi, I'm Amira Sain, and I'm here to help you take charge of your online presence in this digital world. How many times have you received a virtual introduction from someone you don't know and then immediately headed over to LinkedIn or Google to do your own research? If you're like me, you're not alone. I've done it a billion times. But what you should know is that people are doing the exact same thing to you. So let's start from the beginning. I want you to head over to the world's largest search engine and Google your name. Find out what people see when they think about you. Do you like what you see? If you don't panic. That's what this class is all about. So what I want you to do first is set up a Google alert. It's very important to be alerted anytime your name pops up in any media, features, or anything positive or negative about yourself. You want to protect your brand right from the start. Building a thriving social and digital presence all begins with Google, believe it or not. Next up, I want you to set some goals. What do you want to accomplish online? Do you want to build a thriving digital media presence? Do you want to boost your website views? Do you want to gain new business? Or do you just want to have an unshakable presence? There are a few steps that you need to take in order to solidify any of your dreams. I want you to start by creating a shareable folder with the following information. You're going to have your bio, a professional headshot, 3 to 4 lifestyle images, your contact information, any articles or media you've been featured in. Your bio should include the following: a beautifully curated, crafted summary about who you are. I want you to include your name, your education, where you work, what you do, what industry you're in, your goals, accomplishments, and what you do in your spare time. Don't be shy here. You want to share a couple of fun facts and some goals that you have yourself or anything memorable. Now's the time, if there was ever one before, to toot your own horn. Step 2, I want you to go ahead and solidify your LinkedIn presence. Just like I said before, all those people who've never heard of you before are immediately going to the internet to find out everything they can about you. It's up to you to deliver what you want them to know about you. So let's make sure our LinkedIn presence is professional. We're going to start out with a high quality, high resolution image. LinkedIn will help you create a professional background and brand for yourself. We want to make sure that you're focused on what really matters and that any prospects who are looking for you know exactly what you bring to the table. We want to engage with potential clients, colleagues, and even gather endorsements from those we've worked with in the past. You might even be searching for jobs or looking for prospects. So that's why it's important, again, that we use a professional, high-resolution image with good lighting. There's some things that you can cut corners on, but photography just isn't one of them. So I have to put a disclaimer here and say use a current image. How many times have you gone on LinkedIn and seen an image of someone from 20 years ago, only to meet them in person and not have a clue who the person is? You're not alone. It happens all the time. I just don't want you to make that mistake. Accounts with professional photos have 14 times more visibility and traffic than any average LinkedIn account. So take my advice on this one and don't cut a corner. So next up on LinkedIn, I want you to write an attention-grabbing headline. It should explain what you do and show some passion about what you do and why you spend so much time and energy crafting your brand. You can share a great summary by using a shortened version of your bio you've crafted and created for your shared folder. Add more personality, use about 40 words, and then jump right on to some keywords. So you're probably wondering what I mean by keywords. I'm sure you've heard the term SEO. It's a hot button and you hear it all the time. And what it means is search engine optimization. When it comes to your bio, this is something that you probably saw when you looked your name up on Google, your LinkedIn profile. I want you to head over to KW Finder, which is a platform that you can go to and search what people are looking for on the internet. Here's an example. I'm Amira Sain and I'm in marketing. I would go to KW Finder and type in marketing. In return, I'd be given tons of phrases and questions that people are searching for on Google that are surrounded around marketing. Maybe they need information about digital marketing, crafting a digital presence. In return, I'll take those words and I'll pepper them into my bio to make sure that my profile is boosted when people search for me on Google and on LinkedIn. Next up on LinkedIn, I want you to detail your past experience. Now, I'm not looking for a dissertation here, but imagine someone who's never met you before. Give them the Reader's Digest version of what you've done and all the highlights from your career. Remember, you only have one chance to make a first impression, so make sure any information that you're providing is exactly what you want the world to know about you. If you're not sure of exactly where you shine, reach out to some friends and loved ones and ask them about the areas they feel you should highlight on your profile. Reach out to past colleagues and have them endorse you. Include any volunteer work or causes that you're actively supporting. Notice how I say actively. You never want to say you're supporting something that you're not for fear of that dreaded conversation and that look of the deer caught in the headlights. Sharing what you're involved in and what you believe in lets people know that you're a solid individual. As you're closing out your LinkedIn presence, I want you to think about any other social media platforms that you're on that might have questionable information or private facts about you that you don't want the public to know. I want you to stop right now and make those pages private. You do not have to share every aspect of your life, but any page that you have that isn't private is public consumption, and you should know that you might meet strangers who know a little bit too much about your children, your pets, or your loved ones. Next up, I want you to know your platforms and know which platforms are going to work for you and your presence. There are a ton of them out there, and it can be a bit overwhelming. So which platform is right for you? Now, LinkedIn, every woman in business should have a LinkedIn profile. As I've mentioned several times already, LinkedIn is the bee's knees when it comes to solidifying your professional presence. You want to make sure that it is top-notch, locked and loaded, and ready for you to embrace all the great things that are going to come from your profile. Instagram is for promoting your own business. So if you do have your own business, an Instagram page will be great for you, especially if you have a business targeted to people 35 and under. Instagram is also a great platform for you to share books, speaking engagements in all areas of your enterprise. Now, Facebook. Every business needs a Facebook page. If you own your own business, you need a page on Facebook where you can sell items, you can talk about specials, you can talk about different things that you're featured in, and you can even highlight your knowledge and everything that you know in your career. It's also a great place to display your work projects. Now, Pinterest. A lot of people in business tend to think Pinterest is not for them. But think about it this way. Pinterest is a virtual catalog where you can go to find everything from your favorite recipes to how to increase SEO on your own website. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to display your work. Think of it as a virtual portfolio or a great opportunity for you to toot your own horn once again and talk about all the areas where you're knowledgeable. Don't be overwhelmed. I know when you start to think about all the options that are out there in social media, it can be consuming and a bit stressful. I want you to figure out which platform you're comfortable with and put all your energy into that platform. Trust me, it will work out. And over time, as you become more and more comfortable on that platform, you'll be able to apply those skills to additional platforms with ease and with grace. Most importantly, I want you to have a plan, and I want you to schedule your post. There are a few tools that you can use when it comes to scheduling and creating art to accompany any of the information that you share. The number one tool I recommend is called Canva. It's a great resource. I recommend it because it's inexpensive, it's user-friendly, and it's very easy to integrate with different platforms, from MailChimp to Pinterest, and scheduling posts across Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram. You can't go wrong with Canva. Now that you have a solid foundation, let's dive into sharing our knowledge. We've all worked hard. We have experiences that last a lifetime that need to be shared with the masses. So when it comes to sharing your expertise, I want you to think about incorporating it in with current events. No, I'm not saying be controversial or thought-provoking. What I'm saying is make sure that if you're piggybacking on something that's a current topic, it's something that's not been overused, overshared, and you're adding something new to the table and a unique perspective. Only share it if you're confident. The last thing you want to do is create content just for the sake of creating content. Your audience will know and you will lose their engagement. Each time someone who follows you sees a new post from you, they should know that you're adding value to their day and that you're going to give them something awesome that they can incorporate into their life and their work. Now, when it comes to sharing posts from others, I want you to do one thing. Always make sure that you read the articles before reposting. Have you ever clicked on a link that led you to spam or some crazy contest that had a captivating caption or a headline? That's what I want you to avoid. If you get in the habit of sharing information that you haven't vetted, you will lose your authority and you will lose your audience because they will feel like that you're just throwing things out there and not really caring about their time. Now, again, they're coming to you because you are the expert. You've done the work and you've crafted your messaging to prove that. So stay the course. People want to cheer for you. So a lot of times when it comes to creating content, we often wonder about sharing and oversharing and what's too much. I'll tell you this, to each his own. Everyone has their comfort level of what in their personal life they're willing to share. You have to find that. But once you find it, be consistent. Make sure your audience knows that you're always going to be honest with them. You're going to share fun things like behind the scenes work, what a day in a life is with you. And that's why I want you to sit down and plan. Look at the calendar. See if there are any holidays coming up. If those holidays align with your business, if your hours are going to change because of the holidays, or if there's a particular holiday or some avenue that's going on right now that everyone needs to know more information about. One of my favorite months of the year is March because it's Women's History Month. It gives me an opportunity to talk a lot about my journey as a woman in business, to highlight other women in business, and to share fun facts. I use that as an example because March is just around the corner, and I know after this class you're going to begin crafting, and you'll be able to find a ton of information to help you create bingeable content that's going to help solidify your presence online. Now that you have your digital presence front and center, you have a strong foundation, let's get you seen. I want you to head over to Haro, otherwise known as Help a Reporter Out, and I want you to register. This site is phenomenal. You'll be able to find different platforms that are actively seeking input from people who have your expertise specifically. You'll be able to create a profile, and in that profile, you'll say what you're into, what areas of industry you work in, and every day you'll receive alerts from publications all over the world looking for someone just like you with your unique skill set to share their story, their input, and their feedback with the masses. Having these features will work abundantly for you. You'll be able to share them across your platforms like LinkedIn, Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram. I hope you're noticing a theme here. We start with our foundation, we make sure that we're confident in it, and then we head out and we share it with the world. Next up, I want you to create your very own website. If you notice, I've made this a step later in the process because I do believe if you're not ready for a website, your LinkedIn platform can really serve the purpose of solidifying you as a professional. But when you're ready to engage more with different publications or begin your speaking career or even be seen on panels or be featured on different publications, I want you to have a website. And on that website, it'll be similar to your LinkedIn profile, but a little bit more in depth. This will be your opportunity for you to share with the world a lot more about your personality. You'll be able to add a few more personal touches and let people see who you really are. So you're going to include a bio, more photos, your contact information, your resume, a downloadable version if you're actively seeking work or if you want people to know everything about your career and you don't want to put it all on your website. The easier you make it for people to work with you and to gain information about you, the easier it'll be for you to boost your presence digitally. Link any press or features you've ever been featured in. Doesn't matter how old. As a matter of fact, older videos can show people how far you've come and how long you've been around and make them question where they've been and how in the world could they possibly have slept on you. Include your social media links. Again, we're going to go to those keywords and we're going to use those keywords for SEO boosting. So we're going to dive deep on all the areas that we want people to recognize us for. If you're creating your website because you want to start speaking, or because you want to be seen as a leader in the architecture industry or construction industry, this is your time to talk about some of those case studies that you had, past employee experiences. If you worked for a big company and you only have a blurb about them on your LinkedIn, this is your time to dive deep, share any work you had with that company, and really make your Pinterest boards come to life. Lastly, and not least, I want you to be consistent. Remember, consistency is key. There's nothing worse than falling in love with a new brand or a new TV show and then it's canceled. You're left wondering what happened after episode 6 or what happened after that woman launched that brand new business. People have become vested in you. They want to see you win, they want to rise to the occasion, and they want to cheer you on. So share with them behind the scenes footage daily, weekly, or monthly at whatever cadence makes sense for you, but be sure you share. Create a posting cadence that makes sense for you and your time schedule. Be realistic. I know this is a lot to consume, but you can do this. Remember, it's one step at a time, one day at a time. Share your content often and seek opportunities to collaborate. I'm sure you know a number of people in your industry who you admire and who you've always wanted to work with. Take this opportunity to reach out to them and pitch any ideas you have. Now, collaboration can come in many forms. It does not have to always be a true project. It could be something as simple as collaborating on an article, going live on your favorite social media platform, or even asking your audience to send you questions to ask this potential person who's in the industry. Those are great ways to get your content boosted across different platforms because, of course, whomever you're collaborating with will more than likely share the information on their platform and yours. Be sure to tag any businesses that helped you along the way. If you're using their particular software to help in this collaboration, tag them, mention them, and hopefully they'll post, tag, and support you. Another great way to collaborate is to be featured on podcasts. Now that you have a solid presence from LinkedIn to your own website, it's time to start pitching. Sending your link out with a great little blurb about how much you admire a certain podcast is an excellent way to be featured. Podcast hosts are always looking for great guests who are going to captivate their audience and add value to their day and to their show. So when you send them your information that is already fine-tuned, along with all of your contact information and all of your pros and cons, you make it super easy for them to reach out and connect with you and book you for their show. You can also try to speak on panels. The world has changed so much over the last 12 months, and because of that, things have gone virtual. Your ability to speak on panels has never been as great as it is now. You don't have to be flown anywhere, and it's way more cost-effective for a brand, an organization, or a conference to reach out to you and solidify you and your presence as an expert in your industry. With these tips, you are sure to have a phenomenal presence on the internet. There will be no more days of Googling and having to go to page number 5 to find out just who you are, what you do, and what value you bring to the world. I wish you good luck. Be sure to connect with me on LinkedIn at Amira Sain so I can watch your journey and I can cheer for you.
Hello, my name is Angela Berry Robertson, and I'm the Director of Diversity Contract Compliance for Ferrovial Construction and Weber. We are proud to be this year's presenting sponsor for the Luna Awards Speaker Series. As a past recipient of a Luna Awards, we want to congratulate all the nominees. We, again, Ferrovial and Weber, are proud to celebrate the achievements of women in construction along with the Regional Hispanic Contractors Association.
Welcome back, everyone, to a personal conversation with our digital branding speaker, Amira Sain.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for amazing session that you just had. And I'm sure everyone is all inspired and want to get to know you more. And I am Ayumi Anderson. I'm a creative director over at Team Go. And we are proposal, marketing, and also a business consulting firm helping out AEC industry over 10 years. I am so excited to talking to you, Amira. And as we are also women-owned business and working to increase on our digital presence as well. And I am sure that a lot of companies out there who just started out, they're also wants to pick your brain a little bit and see what you can offer us the tips and tricks.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. So pick away whatever you need. You have everything I have, right?
Okay.
So let's get started.
Okay, let's move on to Q&A then.
Sure.
Now that you have given us all these great nuggets on branding, will you tell us how you became a self-branded?
You know, that's so funny. I think about that a lot. How did I get started? Why did I pick this industry? And I think, honestly, I've always gravitated toward marketing in some capacity because I have a large family. Right. When you grow up and you're a semi-middle child or whatever you want to call it, I have 6, there's 6 of us, 3 brothers, 2 sisters.
Oh, wow.
So I think my whole life, I've always been trying to stand out in some capacity, like hear me, hear me. And so I would gravitate toward brands that got my attention since I was a kid. Like I literally would always want to dissect, how did they do that? What is it about that brand or that company that made me want to know more? And I think it was just a natural inclination. And when I reverse engineered, I always think about my childhood. And I think it was just kind of innate.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Now, how do women become a local advocate and get involved in Houston or anywhere nationwide?
Well, I think, first of all, you have to be an advocate for yourself, right? No matter where you live, and you definitely want to network within your community. That's paramount. Houston is a beautiful city full of diversity, full of lots of women-owned businesses. So that's a prime market for networking and for making sure that you build your brand. I think you have to start at your comfort level, right? So obviously everybody's not a natural talker like me, and that's not their thing. And I know a lot of times when you hear the word networking, you immediately start sweating and you think
Right.
you need a pocket full of business cards, right? So in order to really grow, I think the first thing is to take some of the negative stigma out of the word networking, and think about it more so as building. I like to call it building. I'm going to build my business today. When I'm going to a new happy hour, or I'm joining a new board, or anything that could actually add value to my life and my community, I'm building. And when I think about building, it takes all of the fear and the sweat out of truly networking. So
Right,
if
yeah.
I'm building, it's natural for me to talk about the thing that I'm building, right? It's something I'm excited about. It's something that adds value to the marketplace, I hope, right? I've done my research, I've done
Right.
my homework, I've invested in myself. So me going out to build is just semi-natural. For small businesses in whatever market, there are so many different entities that you can rely on. A lot of the folks I would assume or hope who are watching today and who are participating in awards are probably minority-owned businesses or Hub-owned businesses, because we're all women, right?
Right.
So Hub and MBE have some amazing monthly meetings that you can tune into and that you can touch bases with and begin to start networking with people who are building as well.
Right.
And I think we really want to surround ourselves with people who are doing the same things that we're doing in our business, because it makes it a little bit more natural and organic, and it's easier to connect with folks. You also want to look at your personal network, going back to LinkedIn. I know I
Yes.
spoke a lot about LinkedIn on my one-on-one session. But I really think when you think about the people who are in your area in your industry, there are some natural connections that are easy and make it a little bit more accepting for you to maybe ask them out for tea, coffee, or lunch. It's more organic. And sometimes, obviously, when building, you need more in-depth time than
Yes.
a happy hour, right?
Right.
So if I'm building, I'm going to make sure I'm aligned with those organizations, those groups and movements that are doing the same thing I'm doing. And if I pay for the membership, then I'm going to honor that membership by showing up,
Right.
right? I'm going to volunteer to get involved, to get to know people in a more relaxed setting.
Right.
Because I truly believe any connection has to be mutually beneficial. And we have to get rid of that me, what can it do for me mentality, and what can you do for them. The moment you start doing that in your business, networking is no longer a thing. It is building every day, because just even hearing you and your business, I immediately thought, how can we connect? What projects can I connect with her on?
Yes.
And that's what we do when we're building. We're always looking to help others.
That is a great answer, yes. And then also networking doesn't need to be very formal.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
not
it
in my
could be
book.
just coffee or lunch.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest way to connect with people.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Thank
Or
you.
a Zoom call in today's society,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Why do you think women have such a hard time with this social, digital world? And then any life hacks you can share with us?
Oh,
today?
sure. I think that's a tough one. That's another tough question for me, because I don't want to blanket statement us as women, because I know a lot of women who are out here working the room and demanding the room as soon as they walk in. But I do know there's levels, right? So I would say that a lot of us, although we are rock stars behind the camera, it doesn't mean that we want to be in front of the camera, right? So I think that a lot of that trepidation comes from, we're all told is to be fine young ladies, especially Southern women, you know, boasting or bragging is not something that we do. So a lot of times when we have to start our businesses and go out and build them and create relationships, we have some trepidation about tooting our own horn,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because we don't want to come off as someone who's just, braggadocious, for lack of better words. I think the best way to overcome that is to remember you're the expert. You started a business based on a skill that you knew you could conquer. You could slay that skill with your eyes closed. It's something you've probably been doing for a long time,
Right.
like you over 10 years.
Yes.
So when you think about that, I think it's often good to just write 5 things that you know you could rock with your eyes closed. And if you got a call in the middle of the night, what could you own? Those 5 things that you can own, lead with them. So when it comes to going online or building your social media presence, you want to talk about those core things. And those core things, I'm sure you could talk about for hours.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely.
If you could talk about them for hours, that means you can educate someone. And when we think about our relationship with our brand, it's about educating people on what we can offer. Right? And so if we piggyback on those 5 things and we just take 1 a week, that's 5 weeks. Most months are only 4. So that means you have rollover content. And although I might talk about digital and branding all the time, there's so many ways for me to present one topic, just to refer back to what we talked about with LinkedIn.
Yes.
I could talk about LinkedIn and so many areas of it in 1 week. So I think if we kind of take a step back and take small bites into the areas that we really are experts in, it will help us overcome the obstacles of putting ourselves out there. Because if you're talking about something you know, it's not uncomfortable. And you don't have to always lead with an image of yourself.
Right.
Right? A lot of people think that means you have to get in front of the camera. It could be as simple as some of those graphics made in Canva that we talked about, where we talk about those key things that add value to our industry. And I think if we look at it that way, it becomes a little less intimidating. And people will begin to ask questions. So we'll start off with baby steps.
Right.
They'll engage with your post. They'll ask you questions and ask for more input. You might add captions to the post, or you might take it to your DMs, your direct messenger box. And you might continue the conversation for there. And it might even lead to some of those Zoom calls one-on-one that we talked about.
Yes.
I think it's all about baby steps. And there isn't one sure comfort level that you should be at. And the only thing that you should be at is what's comfortable for you. And I think as long as we realize that there's no need to compare your journey to anyone else's, and start where you are at, and you will eventually build upon that, then women will do just fine with their digital brand.
Okay, I think we also talked about how much we need to mix personal versus business on our social media world. And what is your recommendation? How much to expose yourself?
Well, that's a hot button, right? We have
Yes.
people like our beloved Kardashian family who've made a living and a mountain and literally a whole franchise out of sharing. So I really believe it's your comfort level. There's some things about your life that are just things that are automatic, like put that on social media, right? That beautiful Chris holiday card, right? Your child's first day of school, some of those things. I think it really depends on your audience. Right? If you've crafted a social media presence or digital media presence that is strictly professional, then they might not want to see your Thanksgiving dressing recipe, right? So you really have to look at how you've incorporated. If your platform is strictly business and you're wanting to make it more lifestyle and incorporate more, do it gradually. So it goes back to having a plan. Okay. Maybe you start off with behind the scenes. Today, I did not want to get out of the bed. You know, maybe you start filming. Today's a rough one, don't want to get out of bed, but I want to have you guys, I feel like if I take you guys along for the ride, I'll get more done. And then that's preparing your audience and letting them know, this is how I'm going to touch you today. Keep tuning in because I'm going to let you see the foolery that goes on in my life, right?
Yes.
And you can do that all in the office. It doesn't have to be you yelling at your child to get up out of the bed and log in for school. So it really, you have to think about what would your audience want to hear. If you've been at this audience for a while and all you've ever shown was business, they don't really want to hear your personal. And so you might lose people. If you're okay with losing some to gain more, then you're totally fine. I just think you have to do baby steps and really think about what you're comfortable with, because they will know if you're uncomfortable. It'll be all over your face.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That is very helpful, even including my own life and my business as well.
Yeah.
So you talked about lifestyle photos on LinkedIn, was it? What are those?
Oh, great question.
Yes.
You know, I think sometimes as marketers we use this terminology and we forget that everybody doesn't have the same thesaurus that we have. So lifestyle photos are photos with you doing natural things you do in your life, whether it's walking in the park, hopping in your car, sitting in on a meeting. Behind the scenes on what we're even doing today would be lifestyle, because it's the things that I do every day that come naturally to me, and it kind of breaks up the stagnant content of the stiff, you know, bio and headshot. It helps people see that I actually live and I do things other than work, and these are some of the things that I can do, and it just kind of breaks up the more serious content.
Okay, that would be really helpful to break up the, you know, stiffness.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I think a lot of times in business, and I'm so thankful that this time in life we are letting down our guard a little bit, but a lot of times in business we often think that everything has to be just so, right? It has to be buttoned up, it has to be suit and stockings, and we are evolving, and because we are owning our own businesses, we have the opportunity to redefine what that means for us. And because of that, it's a unique time in history that I think we should be taking advantage of a little bit more and loosening up some of the social norms that surround traditional business.
I see. Okay, before we forget, if you have any questions for Amira, please feel free to use the chat and ask away. We're waiting for you to,
please do.
Ask questions. Now, we do have some added questions from our audience.
Sure.
With so many platforms available out there, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, those people who are not really familiar with the digital world, what do you think is the best platform for women in architecture?
Well, that's a great question. That's one I'm asked often. I will go back to our talk this morning and the presentation is I believe every woman who owns her own business should 100% have a LinkedIn presence. I would say start there, depending on what you're wanting to accomplish. If you're wanting to broaden your network, seek new clients, LinkedIn is an excellent platform for you to show off your expertise in a little bit more polished and traditional way. I don't think you have to always be totally buttoned up, but it is a more professional platform. If you're wanting to attract younger audiences and let them know about your architecture work, maybe your people who typically buy your homes or work with you are millennials. A lot of them live on Instagram. So you would take an opportunity to use that platform to show off your work with some great lifestyle photos, right? Show you in the motion behind the scenes and still share that educational aspect of what you can do and all of your knowledge. But you want to meet people where they are. People don't go to LinkedIn just to hang out, right? So when they're scrolling their timeline on their phone, because we all do it, right? You're always glued and watching TV and 7 gadgets open. They're not running to LinkedIn to see what they missed. They run to Instagram or they run to Facebook. Facebook can be both. It's the best of both worlds because you have an audience that ranges from 18 on up to they leave the world, right? So you get a chance to get your brand out in front of a much broader audience and even let some of those family members and friends who you are connected with see what you're up to in hopes that maybe they will reshare. They could even buy your products on Facebook. So Facebook is one that's kind of a catch-all that I think is really great. And again, I'll go back to Pinterest for displaying your work. Your portfolio can speak to people and speak volumes by being repinned. If you have some amazing architecture that you've done, why not add it to Pinterest? It's something that you can add to your email footer on your emails, and people can go back and just kind of get to know you on every platform. What I do encourage is that if you are truly overwhelmed, start with one. It can be exhausting and frustrating if you start with all at once, and you tend to have a higher chance of giving up. You owe it to your business to master one platform. The great thing about Facebook is it has an in-app ability to schedule posts. So you're able to, if you create content like we talked about in my one-on-one, you can take one afternoon and schedule all that content for the next month or so. So you don't have to be beholden to your phone. When we're running businesses, we're overwhelmed. We have projects, we have deadlines, and we don't always have time to go to social media and make a post that day, which is why a lot of us get frustrated and tend to just give up altogether. Using a platform that has an embedded posting tool can work wonders. If you don't have Facebook and you really want to go after LinkedIn, I suggest, again, going back to Canva, because if you have a Canva Pro account, you can schedule LinkedIn posts there, and you don't have to be beholden to the platform every single day. But I do encourage you to set some time a day to respond. You are posting content that is supposed to add value to people's day, which means they may have questions. If they have questions, you need to answer. Think of social media as you saying hello to someone. If I were to walk up to you and say, I love that blouse, and you do not respond to me for 7 hours, and it's so disrespectful, it's so rude, and am I going to compliment you ever again? Probably not, right? So make yourself aware of those times that you're posting, and be available or set the notifications up on your phone so that you immediately are notified and you're able to respond as close to real time as possible.
That was great, because that was going to be my next question. How often are you supposed to spend time posting or monitoring your social media accounts? Because that can be a full-time job.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it can be, but I do think that every business has its own cadence. If you have a new product you're launching, you're going to post a lot more frequently than someone who is just posting once a month because they're just showing you what they've done for the month. I think you really need to think about what your audience wants. Again, each platform is different. LinkedIn, you can post twice a week and you're winning, right? That's a great platform. People aren't there every day looking for your every move. Instagram, in your feed, you can post 3 times a week, but in your stories, people want something every day. And they want at least 5 or 6 stories. So you don't want to overdo it with 25 stories because people are just skipping them and it's a waste of your time, right? But if you give them good information whether it's a graphic or a tip, they'll become used to that and they'll continue to follow you in anticipation of when you're posting. Pinterest is another one that you can do 2 or 3 times a week. It does not have to be every single day.
Right.
Every day on Pinterest can be helpful though if you have a lot of visually pleasing content. If you're going to go after Facebook, I would say 4 or 5 times a week. Later in the evenings and in lunch times. You can literally look at your accounts and see when people are engaging with them, look at their actual analytics through each platform. Thankfully, they provide that now. But if you aren't sure, then take your time and look at times that you actually can sit still and engage. And maybe that's 8 o'clock at night for you. There are plenty of people still scrolling at 8 o'clock. So you literally kind of go around your schedule because you definitely want to return the compliment.
Yes.
Right, but you definitely want to see what the platform is and play around with them. Do a certain time frame for at least a month before you give up on it. Look at that month, see how people engage with it, when they engage with it, and then you'll know exactly when the best time is for you to post.
Okay. And I think it's also helpful to have a publishing calendar as well.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
If you decide to do multiple platforms.
I agree. And there's some great tools that I could share for people who want to automate. So a couple of platforms you can use depending on your budget. The bee's knees and the creme de la creme I would recommend for a business that has multiple social media platforms would be Sprout Social. It's something that's really great for planning. You can plan up to 6 months in advance.
Oh, wow.
Right? So
that is a long time. Yeah.
All of us entrepreneurs are running to that one because 6 months, 1 day planning, we're done. And we don't have to revisit it, which is awesome. If you want to stay on the more fiscally responsible route, then Canva Pro is an option. You also have Planoly, which is one I love to support because she's a Texan and we, the founder's a Texan, right? And you can do Instagram, you can actually see the grid, you can put the captions there. And I also recommend, and this is another trick to add or tool to add to your toolbox, is to get an intern who can help you. There's a platform that I use and I swear by, it's called Kadium.com, and it's an apprenticeship platform. You're able to actually find marketing folks who want more experience in marketing. So you have people who want to be social media managers, who want to be in PR, who can assist you in your business for a small fee each quarter, which is, I want to say it's under $400. You are able to get an
very reasonable.
Very reasonable. You're able to get an apprentice who will work 10 hours a week for your brand for 3 months. And they will work on your social media for you. You train them, you become their mentor. You mentor them, you speak with them, and they help you out. So we get to pour back into our community, right? Back to your community question earlier. And we get to get the skills that we need, a mutually beneficial relationship for under $400.
That is a great tool for a startup or any small businesses.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've worked with Acadium for over 2 years, and I've gotten some of the best people who actually work for me now through using that platform. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question is, how can women engage with other women to build sisterhood or brain trust?
That is an excellent question because that's something I struggled with a lot at the beginning of my business. I would try to find, start mastermind groups and just have a hard time. I think the biggest mistake that we make is thinking that our girlfriends are supposed to be in our brain trust or our masterminds. And remember that a lot of our girlfriends are great at being our cheerleaders in life, but they aren't necessarily business owners. So those conversations may not excite them and they may be a little bit on the boring side for them. So as you're going out and you're building, you're going to meet people who you automatically admire, people who you automatically see that you want to aspire to be. Those are the people who we should be connecting with and reaching out to be a part of our brain trust and be a part of our masterminds. And I think discerning that up front is the key. I think discerning that, and then again, making sure that those relationships are mutually beneficial. When you approach someone to be a part of a brain trust or a mastermind, you want to approach them with what you offer, right? What you can bring to the table. A lot of times, especially if it's someone we admire, who is where we want to be, their calendars are set in stone months in advance. So to reach out to them and just simply say, I'd love to grab a coffee with you and pick your brain is not going to be something that they gravitate to, right?
Correct.
So we might say, hey, I took a look at your website. It is phenomenal, but I did take the liberty doing some usability testing, and I see an area where I can help you out, I'd love to schedule 15 minutes where I can show you what we can improve upon. That adds value to my day.
Yes.
That's the kind of person I want to be friends with, because they're looking out for me. They're telling me what they can do to help me get further than where I am today. And obviously I'm going to want to help them because they went out of their way to do something kind for me. You know, I think that that's something that some might perceive as being, I guess, a little assertive, or maybe even rub them the wrong way, because obviously you do want something, but that's business. We all go into business to earn an income to support our lifestyle. You have to grow your business, but it's okay to let someone know, I want your business or I want something for you, but I'm willing to bring just as much to the table.
Very great. Yeah, great comment. Now, also, we cannot be competing against each other. You always want to be a mentor or mentee to each other as well.
I agree.
That will keep the relationship going.
Yeah, yeah. Collaboration is key
Yes.
to entrepreneurship, especially us as women. Yeah.
Thank you. Then the next question we have is, what is your recommendation for good podcast or great books relating to branding?
Oh, there's so many good ones out there, and I read and consume Audible like water, right? So one of the ones, if you're starting from scratch, there are two books that I think everyone should listen to or read. One is Superfan by Pat Flynn. It's a great book about how to hone in on what your audience wants and how to find those people who really love what you do, so that you can continue to build and create what they need, right? A lot of times we go into business and we think it's one thing, but our core audience or our patronizers are people who say, that's not what I like about your business, right? So if you're tapped into them and what makes them float, then you don't deviate and you know what's going to make your business scale. The next book is Start With the Why by Simon Sinek. Everybody's heard of Simon Sinek. He's amazing at what he does. It's a quick read, but he really drives home the point that stumps a lot of us when it comes to digital. What do I post? What should I say? If you know your why in the depths of your soul, you will never deviate from it. Everything you do will answer that why, whether it's a lifestyle post, a podcast interview, or your first book that you're writing. You will make sure that you answer the why. Now for podcast, you can listen to Brunch and Slay, which is my podcast.
Oh, okay.
We actually hone into women every week. So every week we speak with women who own their own businesses, who are game changers in their own right and disrupting the space as we know it. And they're talking about the ebb and flow, the highs and lows, and the behind the scenes things that we don't always share. I try my best to ask questions that they may not have been asked on another publication or platform, so that people can really truly get to know them and their brand.
Okay.
But for marketing, there's also one by Amy Porterfield, Digital Marketing Made Easy. She's done this 5 or 6 years, so there are well over 300 or 400 episodes. You can kind of go in and cross-reference on what you're having issues with, and she goes into the woods. So she's going to break down everything from Facebook ads to webinars, and she does it effortlessly, and she is, I would say, the leader in digital marketing for women, Amy Porterfield. Yeah.
Need to check that out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For sure. Okay, thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next question. What advice can you give someone who is a little more senior or more experienced and getting into the second phase of her life with a new career, and who never really used social media or digital platforms?
Oh yeah, this is something that I struggle with a lot. I deal with a lot of not just seniors, but brands that have been around for a long time, that are reluctant to embrace the new age, right? They think it's a fad. I'd say start with one. Start with one, whichever platform that you heard me mention. I'd say start with LinkedIn.
Yes.
The beautiful thing about platforms is they want you to use it. They want you to be well versed in it. So they offer their own courses. If you are afraid and intimidated by it, just Google LinkedIn courses. They have their own academy. Instagram has their own academy. Facebook has their own academy. And you can literally take courses that they give you and walk you through every step from making your first post to your bio, and you will feel totally confident. When it comes to people who've been around for a while, we know that they have years of knowledge and they know how to study, right? You know how to study, you know how to do your homework and do your research. So go ahead and go back to the old school way, take those courses, get your level of comfortability up, of your knowledge of the platform, and then baby steps, set a cadence that makes sense for you in your life and your business, which may be once a week initially. And then you might work up to 2 days a week, you know, and do baby steps. I think if you make a promise to yourself to just stay at it with one platform, you'll be pleasantly pleased. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think that goes back to our earlier conversation that some people depend on their business through word of mouth, and they just don't have a website yet, or they don't even have social media existence. So would you say the same thing for them as well? Just start from one.
Yeah, I absolutely would. But I also think that a lot of times we're so close to our situations, we don't realize how we should leverage them, right? And owning your own business and building your empire is about leveraging the relationships that you already have. So for those folks who have been in business for years and have never needed social media, first of all, let's say kudos to you, because that is a tough thing. That means your customer service is on point. That means that you always deliver because people keep coming back. And that is something that the folks who are on social media who don't have a business are trying to achieve. So there's some synergy there. You could do a couple of things. One, you can find a youngster or someone who's out there doing a great job in digital who you admire and ask them, could you offer mentorship on longevity in exchange for mentorship on the new now? Right? Second thing you can do is reach out to some of those tried and true customers who always return and get testimony. Testimony is pivotal in growing your business. Think about when you try a new restaurant. What do? You go to Yelp.
Yes.
You go to Yelp, you read the reviews, you figure out is this a place, you look at the photos, right? So testimony in business is just as powerful. You can either have written ones, literally one sentence, and you could even use that as a cadence on LinkedIn. You could put that quote on some beautiful Canva art.
Yes.
And you can post one quote a week from a past customer, which gives you notability, which gives you the reputation and supports your reputation that you do great work and have staying power. You could even go so simple as to grab your cell phone, call a couple of past clients and say, can I visit you today, and get you to say these 5 words on camera. Do that with 10 of your past customers, right? It doesn't have to be high quality video. Guess what TikTok is? Homemade, made good, right? It's all about authenticity. So the days of super polished content for business are long gone, right? People want that reality show vibe. So taking your phone, asking 10 customers to say 5 words about your business that you can even handpick. Remember, make it easy for the folks you're asking to do you a favor. Go to them, say those 5 words, and then go home and have some fun. And there's so many in-app editing tools. Even Instagram, you can edit from the platform for your reels.
It's amazing,
right? Yes. So take those 5 customers or 10 customers, take 1 word from each of them, and make a video of just words. And then you can type captions that says, we asked 10 of our customers who've been with us for over 10 years what they love about us, right? And cut into each of those customers, put their job title, put the company so that you get your credibility.
Yes.
Especially if you worked with a big name company, make sure you put their name there. Get permission first, because some brands are very particular about how you use their name, right? Even if it's just tagging them in the post, they'll appreciate it.
Or use of their logos.
Yes, or their logos, yes.
Especially.
So just tag them, make that video, and that's a great place to start with working those relationships. Number 1, your customers will appreciate being appreciated.
Yes.
Right?
That is so true.
It's another tap into your community and saying thank you. And it gives you content that you can use again and again, and it gives you credibility.
That is amazing. Yes, that's what everybody needs to start somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you have not asked any questions, please use our chat room and ask away. Thank you so much. Now, I have some other questions that I wanted to ask you earlier. There are so many free tools out there. Do you have any recommendations?
And when you say free tools, as in?
As a digital marketing tools. I know Instagram, those, Facebook, those are all free. But when it comes to business use, would you have a business account, or would you use a personal account?
Oh, great question.
Yes.
I would say go for a business account on any platform that allows it. I think it's important that when people hear your name or your business, that they're able to find it easily. So if you create business accounts, it helps you do what we talked about earlier in our one-on-one, is make sure that your personal life is personal, right? And your business is easily searchable and found. So I think number one, have a business account. Have an automation tool, because the scheduling, as we talked about, life happens. If we have automation tools, we never have to anticipate last minute posts or what should I caption this. It's already done, it's anticipated, and we know that we're set up for success. And as small business owners, obviously, we are always thinking of ways to strategize and what strategies and systems we can have in place to make everything easy, right?
Okay.
I think you also may be wanting to incorporate project management software like Trello or not Snapchat. Gosh, I just had a mind freeze. But there's some great platforms out there like Trello that you can use that's free. To manage your team or to manage the calendar and scheduling posts. I also think KW Finder is an excellent software. Keyword optimization is what's going to help you create your digital presence and really give you the springboard that most companies want to invest in, especially small businesses. Another platform that I'd strongly recommend that's also free is answeringthepublic.com. It's a platform that tells you the exact questions people are searching on for Google. So from an expert's perspective, if I know what questions need to be answered, it's super easy for me to create content to answer them. It's a free tool. You can do 2 searches a day at no cost, and that should definitely help you create content that keeps your business and your digital presence thriving.
Okay, great to know. Those are all good information.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. When it comes to a website setup, I know a lot of people are so confused how to start. And there are domains and there are URLs, well, that's a domain, but hosting. And do you have any recommendation of which company is the best?
You know, I won't say who's the best. I don't know that there's one that is 100% the best. There are some leaders, right? WordPress is a super user-friendly platform. You can buy the domain on WordPress. You can build a site, which you can use a template. Their templates are great. You can easily integrate them with your own HTML code and colors, which you have for your brand, add your logos. If I can do it, I know you can.
Okay.
There's also Squarespace, which has great templates as well. You can build a website and landing pages from MailChimp now. Canva has landing pages. So almost all platforms that are geared toward creatives and creating content nowadays have some kind of capability of buying your domain and hosting it. I suggest if you are going to use a platform to build your site, a true site like WordPress or Squarespace, buy your domain through them. No need to have 17 different bills. Do everything in one place, which makes our life easier.
Yes.
Right? So WordPress is excellent for that, and Squarespace, and even Wix. Yeah.
I like Wix.
Yeah.
That is so easy.
It's
Everything
super
is so
easy.
visual. No brainer.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And then I would also suggest when you first start out, don't overthink it. You might think that your website needs 17 pages. It doesn't. You need one good landing page with great content and great copy that just really tells your story. Refer back to the one-on-one where I kind of walk you through what to add to your personal web page, and just answer those questions using any of the platforms I just talked about, and you'll be just fine.
That is, yeah, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many tools out there, and anybody who's starting up business, new business or small businesses, it is confusing.
Oh, very much so.
Yes.
It's overwhelming, right?
Yes.
And then don't forget the power of outsourcing. We don't have to do everything for ourselves. You can use platforms like Upwork to find developers who can literally take the theme that you purchased from WordPress or Wix and customize it for you. If you can provide them with your HTML codes and your copy that you want added to the site, you can literally go to the site, pick the template you want, purchase all the domain, and then outsource it using Fiverr or Upwork.
Okay. Great to know.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to ask you some personal questions.
Sure.
I know you have a daughter, and how much time do you spend with her? I know you own a business, and I know you're constantly busy, but do you still have your personal time?
Yeah, if you asked her today, she probably would say not the last 2 weeks. But, you know, life happens. We have those seasons where you know, right now it's Q4, so things are a little all over the place for most of us in small business. But yeah, family time is extremely a huge priority for me. I grew up in a family where my mother had her own business, so I'm lucky enough to have seen the balance, right? I think it's great for my daughter to see me working and making time and also be able to tell her no sometimes. Yes. I think that that's important too, that she sees that sometimes mom has to prioritize other things that matter. And I do a good job about speaking to her, at least I think I do, right? I'm gonna say I do, about why I can't. Yeah. So I don't just say no, I'll say, mom has a deadline, she has a new client, and I need to do these 3 things before we can have our movie night. And you know what I'll let her do? I'll let her come in the room, bring her tablet or bring something or headphones so she can still be close to me, right? Or I'll give her little projects. I might ask her to cut out something or to go to the internet and find something. Thank goodness, my daughter's pretty young. But she can use Siri like the best of them, right? So she can do her own, she can do her own version of research. And I remember my mom incorporating me in her business. She's a realtor, and so I remember being able, back in the day, I'm gonna age myself, before navigation, there was Mapscos. It was a book with maps of cities. I remember going to show houses with her and actually giving her directions on where to turn and which route to take, which made me feel like I was a part of the business.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, so I think incorporating those things and allowing them, she helps me pack up if we have production shoots for clients, and just letting her feel like, you know, she's really a part of this family business. I think that that's normal. And trying my best not to feel guilty about those trips that I have to take or different things. But just, you know, thank God for technology. We have FaceTime now, right? So I'm able to FaceTime and I'm able to bring her back a little tchotchke that she'll adore for the next day, you know? Right. So those things really help me, but it's very important to me that I set a good, healthy work balance for her.
Wow, that is very inspiring. Sometimes as a parent, it is hard and we just forget to explain, you know, okay, this is why we can't spend time with you right now, but we always need to tell them at the same time that, you know, there's this other time that we can spend, you know, quality time together. Yeah,
I think if we set dates, they can look forward to them. Like I mentioned movie night. My daughter knows every Friday night is movie night. So she can pick the movie as early in the week as she wants. She can pick the restaurant we're gonna order in from. She can tell me what homemade beverage we're gonna make. And it becomes a big deal for her. So having that to look forward to, she isn't as annoyed with me if I am working a little late. I say, I'm doing this so movie night will be fun and we can start on time. And, you know, just kind of saying it in a 5-year-old way has helped out a lot.
Great. Well, Mira, thank you so much for your time today and all your tips and tricks, amazing stories behind the scenes. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's absolutely my pleasure.
This has been an inspiring story for all of us.
Oh, yeah. And I just want to let everybody know I'm always available if you have questions. Feel free to DM me on LinkedIn or shoot me an email at info@basmedia.net.
Well, stay connected with our social media platforms for Luna Awards series. And thank you and have a great day.
Hi everybody, I'm Kamisha Mason and I'm excited today to get everyone excited about another year of Luna. This year we are recognizing 2 key categories, the Outstanding Business Advocate of the Year and the Established Service Firm of the Year. With me I also have Maricela and I'd like for you to introduce yourself as well.
Hi everybody, my name is Maricela Gonzalez. I am representative of the board Hispanic Contractors Association. Hola a todos, mi nombre es Maricela González y yo represento a la mesa directiva de los contratistas hispanos de la construcción.
Now there's one big difference between these 2 categories. The established firm must be owned by a woman and that person must own at least 51% of the business. The Business Advocate Award is open to everybody. We look forward to recognizing all of our nominees and our winners on December 17th at our annual Luna Awards.
Please join me in thanking our Luna ambassadors for hosting today. Luna Speaker Tour. This event could not happen without your support and leadership. Thank you everybody for the support.